Hey, it's Millen. Millen Doth. Live and in stereo. See that guy right there? Yup. That's me. Now, you're probably wondering how I got here. This is my story. Millen, wake up! My mother yelled at me from outside my bedroom door. Groaning, I wriggled my body around the surface of my bed. After yelling for a few more minutes, she finally opened my door. Millen, she boomed, you need to get up. I rebutted that by turning myself over. I don't want to, I groaned while half asleep. I'm tired. Even though I knew it was not the right thing to do, I stayed up late playing games the night before. Completely worth it, by the way. After all, what did I care about the following morning? That doesn't matter, my mother interrupted. You have regionals. I could not bear the thought of going through this day. Marching band is such a chore. Caught in a trance, I followed my morning routine. I brushed my teeth and got changed with little enthusiasm. More like none at all. A knapsack was laid on top of my shoes as I was about to leave the house. Gatorade and chips stuffed the bag to the brim. This was going to be a long day. The noise from a car starting filled my ears. Several minutes later, I arrived at the school. I walked into the band room and all of our equipment was bundled up in the center. Looking closer, I checked to see if we had everything. Marimbas and vibraphones? Check. Cymbals? Check. Electronics? Check. Millen, get over here. It was the director of my section, Mark. Help move some of the equipment, he finished. Do I have to? Who cares if an instrument doesn't get there? I whimpered. Mark reacted to that with a frown. All the equipment was shortly loaded onto the bus. Mr. Megalio, the marching band director, showed himself and started a lecture. The only thing I paid attention to was something within the lines of trying your best and showing them what Central can do. Okay, Mr. Megalio, I will certainly try my best. This competition is the equivalent to a football player's Super Bowl, and Mr. Megalio just happened to be the coach. More than 200 band kids were able to fill up 5 coach buses. We were ready for takeoff. Luckily, I was able to find a seat next to a few friends of mine. The buses had almost every seat filled. 20 minutes before we were scheduled to arrive, a voice went through the bus's loudspeaker. It announced, "All right, everyone, you all need to be dressed in uniform before we exit the buses." In a crowded bus, it is just a tad difficult to change. Until the bus stopped, most of the people were scrambling to put on their uniforms. The bus doors flew open and we hopped out of the bus. Rays of light flashed everywhere. While shielding my eyes, I could kind of make out a line of text. MetLife Stadium. Beneath that, advertised our Pepsi Cola and the Cadets Drum Corps. Outside the entrance to the stadium, there is an area where bands can practice. My section then splits off from the rest of the band. From where my section set up, all of the other bands that came to compete were visible. Oh my, were there a lot of band geeks. Megalio gave every section about an hour to practice. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Mark yelled over the metronome. We start our hour of fun to practice with warm-ups. Although annoying, they supposedly let us play at our peak performance. Peak performance? Okay, whatever. We then move on to what we will be performing during the actual competition. This show has no real shortcomings effort-wise. 7 months of practicing 9 or more hours a week goes a long way. I hate it. I had no idea why I stayed in band for a second year. After running through everything, there was finally a break. Some of the chaperones brought over cups of water. Of course, it's tap water, which further declines my experience. Okay, good job everyone, Mark starts. Do even better on the field. Mark pulls me to the side. He said, Millen, can you at least try to show some effort? Before I can answer, someone's voice cuts right through. Guys, we're on in 10 minutes, someone screams. Looking over, it's Mr. Megalio in a panic. We dash to the entry point. All of our equipment is here. 2 minutes until we need to go onto the... Millen, get over here, the senior called. I looked over and the rest of the pit is circled up. In their presence, I noticed the tension that they have. They are nervous, anxious, stressed, excited, scared. Guys, calm down, you'll do great, Mark assured. Despite the assurance, nervosity plagued the faces of everyone. It was a kind of funny sight. Entering the field are the marching Red Devils under the direction of William McGallion, the stadium system blared. We rushed onto the field. I ran my instrument to its designated location, the 45-yard line, and then started to help wire up the electronics. I made sure that everything was wired correctly, because if not, the show might have collapsed. The show was so heavily dependent on the electronics. Wait, why do I get it? I thought to myself. A button is pressed on the sampler. Electronics were live. A small grin appeared on my face. Mr. McGallion signaled me. Time for the show to start. I breathe in. My thumb tapped the button on one of the keyboards to trigger the starting sounds to play. While hitting the button, I looked right up to the judge's booth and I smirked a little. Band, you may take the field in competition, a voice from the judge's booth echoed. Within the first few seconds, I was barely able to comprehend what was happening. I was standing still, focusing on hitting the right notes while brass was blaring, and the guard rushed to the front of the field for their first move. I looked up at an angle. The drum major was waving her arms, and the band was following along perfectly. Once she noticed that, a grin was marked on her face. Looking around, I see similar expressions on everyone's face. My mind proceeds to go blank. Adrenaline is pulsing through my body. I smile a bit and look back down at my hands. It's like I feel the energy from the entire band coursing right through me. I guess this is what they meant by my peak. Who knew I could have this much fun? I glanced down as my hand danced upon the vibraphone. My mouths are the running backs dashing across the field. The instrument. I hit the last note. Smiling, I looked at everyone in my section. I looked up, and the drum major signaled us to exit the field.